Esther Wojcicki is the founder of the Scholastic Journalism program at Palo Alto High School. It's now the largest in the nation. Over the past 30 years, she has built this journalism program from a small group of 20 students in 1985 to over 600 students and 5 other journalism teachers that it includes now. Esther, we're very happy to have you share your insights and perspectives in personal journeys that you've encountered in integrating curriculum with 21st century skills and on insights on raising successful adults.
Thank you so much, Martha. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to talk to all of you, and it's an honor to be invited to present. So this is there is a silver lining in this pandemic disruption. And the silver lining is that schools have been totally disrupted. And we've been trying to disrupt them for a long time, politely. And this was not a very polite disruption, but it's a really big disruption, and it's going to make a big difference. So we need multiple groups to be working together in order to make this work for kids, and that includes parents, caregivers, school administrators, businesses and communities, central and local governments, and teachers. So we all have to be on the same page. So there are 5 principles of the at-home classroom. And this number 5, by the way, just happened to work out really conveniently for me because I developed this acronym in my book called TRIC. And TRIC stands for trust, respect, independence, collaboration, and kindness. And it's an acronym that I developed to help you remember what I think is important, not just in the classroom, but as a parent and as an employee and in your relationships. So it's not just, you don't want to trust and respect just a few people. I mean, it's a way of life. And that's part of what I talk about in my book a lot. So the psychology that works in school also works in the corporate world. And that's because, human beings, you're still that same human being. And even though your body's a little older or a little larger, you're still that same person. So here's the book, How to Raise Successful People. It's in Kindle format. It's audio format if you need that. It's hardcover, and the paperback is coming out in August. And it's translated into 21, well, actually will be 22 languages this year. So hopefully it'll be in a language convenient for you to read it. So these principles today are even more important in online teaching in the face of a pandemic. So respect. Their world has been shattered, so we need to respect their feelings, their worries, their ideas. A lot of people forget about that. It's like they're just kids, but kids have a lot of great ideas and they have feelings too. When they feel respected, people have self-respect. They need you to respect them. Independence, allowing them to search online, find the resources to meet the goals of the class. So the teacher can be responsible for the goals. The student can be responsible for helping to find resources to meet those goals. And there's a lot of resources out there. If you just look here, you'll see YouTube, Teach from Home, Learn at Home, Coursera, Udacity. I mean, there's so many resources out there for kids, and we just need to give them the freedom and respect to find these. Collaboration, I encourage them to go online and learn with a friend. So that's actually highlighted in red because learn with a friend is kind of the most important part of that. Kids don't do well when they're just learning by themselves, just like most adults don't do well when they're learning by themselves. So one of the things that Coursera has discovered, and edX and Udacity, is that when people work in groups, they're much more effective learners because then they have someone to talk to about whatever it is they learned. So I also teach them kindness by modeling it yourself. It's really important. It's a high stress world now. As a matter of fact, there have been a lot of articles on how depression and post-traumatic stress syndrome and all those things are going to be more problems for us. So I think it's important for us to remember how kindness plays a huge role. So COVID-19 presents an opportunity to teach and model these skills. We need people who have skills computers will never have. And empathy, compassion, respect, creativity, social emotional skills that are really important. So my ideas about teaching started with the birth of my daughters. Here they are in Geneva, Switzerland, where we lived for a couple of years. And here they are today. Big difference, right? And it's Anne, Janet's in the middle, and Susan on the end. And this is Susan's job as a role. I'm very proud of her as the CEO of YouTube. Janet is professor of pediatrics and an epidemiologist at UCSF. And Anne is the founder of 23andMe, the personal genetics company. And one of the things they're doing is looking into whether your DNA has an impact on how you respond to the virus. And she's offering 10,000 tests to people that actually have COVID-19. So what did I teach them? It's okay to take a risk and not be successful. You need to try everything. Don't be afraid of failure. Just do it again. And I provided a safe space for them to be really creative. So I use trick in the in all of our daily life. I use trick in my classroom as well. And I taught them to believe in themselves by trusting them. So my pedagogy continued with the birth of my media arts program. It started in 1984 with 20 students on a typewriter using X-Acto knives, hot wax, and paste up. This is where I was for 30 years. Can you believe that? And as the program grew, they kept adding more of these. These are called portables, for those of you that don't know. And so today, as Martha said, today is the largest media program in the US, probably in the world. 10 publications, 700 students, 6 media arts teachers, and we've won more top awards in the nation than any school in the US. And this is what it looks like today. I went from that portable into this gorgeous building, which unfortunately I can't go to right now because it's closed. So this is what it looks like inside. So notice students are working together in teams, and I don't ever have a lecture-based model. It's always a little bit, and then it's all students and working together. So this is what one of the classes produces. This is called the Campanile, and it's a newspaper. It's 24 to 28 pages long, 3 sections. And it's all done by teenagers, even though it looks like it's professional. This is all done by kids. And this is a spotlight, a center fold, and this is just one idea. They learn to do these graphics because they learn the whole Adobe Creative Suite, and they use those skills that they learn, not just in college, but in life. A lot of my students have come back and told me that that was one of the most exciting things that they did, is learn all those tech skills. This is another magazine. It's called the C Magazine. And the topics, all the photography, all the creativity, all the art, everything is produced by teenagers. This is Verde, another magazine. And this is Viking, and it's a sports magazine. And one of the things that's really exciting is students are still working on these publications from home. They are sharing their screen, they're sharing everything. Adobe was kind enough to make all their software available for all the kids at home. And so they all have it on their computers, and they're doing everything from home. And the publication will come out next week. You know, their prom was canceled this year. And so this is what they did instead. What we would have worn if we had gone to prom. And the kids all took pictures of themselves and then sent them in. And this is just 2 pages. There's about 10 pages of kids wearing their outfits. And I thought that was a really good solution. And what students are saying about living through this pandemic, this is a New York Times article, number one thing they miss, being with their friends. Number one. They find it hard to learn online, and their teachers are trying to use the same methods that they used in class online. And so 1 hour of a Zoom lecture is not very engaging, unfortunately. So one thing to encourage online collaboration is with Zoom calls with a time limit, FaceTime, and Google Meet and social media. So you need to give them time to work with their friends. We need to provide a schedule and due dates for the classes that are reasonable, but don't over assign. So you need to list the goals of the week, or the goals of the semester, whatever the teacher thinks, and then let students design their own path or give them some flexibility to design their own path for meeting these goals. Also, encourage students to work with a partner all the time, with 2 or 3 friends, and it helps to maintain relationships. And classes where students have to work independently have a lot of issues. And this is one of the reasons why we don't give them control. It's called helicopter parenting. It's because we as adults think we know the best. So the idea is to forget about that and to give kids an opportunity to be innovative. Allow them to revise before grading them, use the mastery system of learning, and encourage students to take a risk without fear of shame. Everybody's afraid. It's not just students. It's people in companies. It's adults. People are afraid to say what they really think. You need to create a sense of community where it's okay to take a risk. And we need to make sure that we listen and do what we can to make their life better. So the topics I cover: crisis schooling, increase student engagement, getting ahead, not falling behind. Getting ahead is basically getting ahead from a social emotional perspective, self-directed learning, making personal connections, and finding the right resources. So I encourage you to sign up, and it's free. And so that is the end of the presentation.
Let me say what a lot of great ideas you've shared with us today, Esther. Thank you very much. There's a lot of food for thought in thinking about how people relate to other people, regardless of their roles, and how, with feedback, revision, encouragement, kindness, and philosophy, that we can always do better, that probably we will do better. I think that you've highlighted how education has been disrupted, but I think you've given some really strong pointers to how learning can continue in spite of that. And as we've seen in many sectors and in many applications, this pandemic is an opportunity to rethink and try new things and reevaluate what our goals are. That may include, in fact, reevaluating what it is that we want to measure.